Howdy friends, Brian Flechsig of Mad River Outfitters and the Midwest Fly Fishing Schools, and welcome back to another one of our product reviews. Actually, today is going to be a little bit of a how-to as well. Earlier today, I got an email from a gentleman. Didn't look like one of the official Q&A questions, and I just thought we had a few extra minutes here today, so I thought I would answer your question. And his question was, how do you use the Orvis Dropper Rig Fly Box? Kind of a cool product. We've been selling this thing for years and years, and also, believe it or not, we sell this a lot for tenkara anglers who use different lines. But in the process, I'm going to show you two other products that we sell a lot of that are for the same purpose. Okay, so and that is the Loon rigging foams right here. Comes in a pack of 3. And then from our friends at Cliff Fly Boxes, probably our #1 selling fly boxes. We've been selling these things for, I don't know, 20 plus years, something like that. But Cliff has a box called the Deuce that really does a very similar thing. So the Dropper Rig Fly Box. Many of you know, and another reason for doing this video too, I will tell you that a really great icon in our sport passed away this week. His name is Charlie Meck. And Charlie, as far as I know, is really credited with as being one of the first people to introduce fishing a dropper rig, or 2 flies at the same time. So I thought it was appropriate to kind of honor Charlie. You know, many of us here at Mad River Outfitters were greatly influenced by his books, by his fly patterns, by his teaching. So we're going to miss him. Even though I only met him a couple of times at shows, he really had a big influence on my trout fishing career. And so I thought it would be a little way to honor Charlie and talk about dropper rigs and 2-fly rigs. So we'll get into how you do this in some later rigging episodes, but there's a variety of different ways. And first and foremost, there's a lot of steel headers. We'll use 2 flies. Up in Michigan, here in Ohio, Pennsylvania. It's very common to fish an egg pattern first and then to trail a nymph behind it. And I usually go somewhere around 12, 16, 18 inches behind. Depends on how deep and how fast the water is. And typically on an egg and nymph setup, I'm going to have the egg first and then the nymph second. You'll put the split shot above it, and that's going to bring the whole rig down onto the bottom of the stream. And as you know, steelhead typically feed on the bottom. But you can also do this with, say, a soft tackle or a merger type of fly, and then maybe a bead head or a standard nymph type fly. And there's a variety of different ways to do this. First and foremost is the same way, and usually what I would do is put the bead head first. I'll trail the soft tackle behind it, and the split shot will go above. Now the split shot and the bead head will be riding down, and your idea is that the soft tackle might be riding up a little bit. Another way of doing this, and I find myself drop shotting more often. And drop shotting, you would reverse that. You would put the soft tackle first, then you're going to put the standard nymph on the bottom where it's more likely going to be found. And then you're going to run your split shot on a tag below that nymph. And that's going to keep everything where it should be. It's going to keep your emerger or your wet fly in the water column. It's going to keep your nymph slightly off the bottom where the fish are looking for it. So again, that'll be a whole different episode. But what you can do, for those of you that fish 2-fly rigs, and I do this a lot. In fact, I was just on the San Juan River last week, and heck, we were fishing double dry fly rigs. Out in Montana, when we fish the Madison every summer, we'll fish a grasshopper and then maybe put a nymph below it or a smaller little dry fly behind it. Everybody's heard of the hopper dropper rigs. Well, here's a cool way of doing it. And this way you can rig this up prior to and have a bunch of them rigged up. For example, I fish a lot of pheasant tails and then a soft tackle pheasant tail or a green soft tackle behind it. I would say that's a rig that I fish almost every day trout fishing. Well, you can rig these up prior to and just attach your tippet. I usually go with 4X tippet for trout fishing, Maybe if I'm out there on the San Juan, I might go to 5X. But it's either 4X or 5X. With steelhead, I'm probably in the ballpark of 1X or 2X, depending on how clear the water is. So, and then you can attach it to the eye of one fly and to the eye of the other. And then no matter what order you're going to put these in, then you just tie the leader right on and tie that to the eye of the fly. I typically tie to the eye of the fly. I think that allows the fly to ride a little bit more naturally. It keeps the hook unimpeded by the tippet. And then when you do hook a fish and they're grabbing onto this, they don't have that extra piece of tippet in their mouth and sawing on it, okay? And what I'm referring to there is some people prefer to tie to the eye, some people tie to the bend of the hook. I typically will tie to the eye of the fly, tie both pieces of tippet. So in fact, for your steelhead rig, if this was, you're going to have your egg first, all I do is tie that to the tippet on my existing leader, and then your dropper rig is set up. So especially as a guide, this can save a lot of time. So these boxes are set up such that this Orvis rig, it's really simple. You pull out your little pieces here, and it's got a bunch of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those inside the box. And all you're going to do is attach one of your flies and then wrap your tippet around, making sure you don't hook yourself when you do that. And bada book, bada bing, like butter. You're going to hook that right in, and then your dropper rig is set up. Okay, you might even, if this pink egg and a black stonefly, which is one of my go-to steelhead rigs, if that's something you're going to use a lot, you could put 2 or 3 on each of these. You slide it right back into the box, and off you go. Okay, so you can get a ton of dropper rigs set up there in this one box. Okay, and then it's real easy to undo. Boom, put that back in, tie your fly on, and off you go. So you've got these dropper rigs pre-rigged. It can really save you a lot of time on the water, and especially as a guide, these types of things have been critical to me. So the Orvis dropper rig fly box, now I mentioned Tenkara guys really like these. A lot of Tenkara guys will have different line setups. If you really get into Tenkara, you might have 4 or 5 different lines for different applications, and you can easily attach. You're going to leave your tippet on the whole 9 yards, and there's also little slots here, okay? There's little slots that you can attach the tippet or the rear end of the line that you're using, slide it in there, wrap it around here, and you can have a bunch of different line setups. And then I've even seen people take a Sharpie and write on there what the particular line is. So we've been selling a ton of this box to folks who are Tenkara fishing. But that's the Orvis dropper rig fly box, comes in at $29.95. Same deal here, the Deuce from our friends at Cliff, and this couldn't be simpler. It's just a simple piece of foam, okay? And I think the advantage of this is it doesn't matter how long your dropper is, you can always get it right. With the Orvis, if you're right at a certain length, it doesn't fit exactly perfectly. Whereas with this rig, you can just rig up a bunch of them and just wrap it around the foam, and it doesn't matter how long your dropper tippet is, you're always going to be able to attach to the foam. I mean, really, it's stupidly simple. It's a block of foam. Put it in the box, put it in your vest or your kick bag, and off you go. So that's another option, the Deuce from Cliff. That's pretty cool, and we sell a ton of them. And the cool thing about it is, as with all Cliff fly boxes, they're virtually indestructible, very well made here in the USA, I believe out in Wyoming, and that box sells for $20, so $10 cheaper. And last but not least, these are called rigging foams from Loon. And these things have been on the market for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And when I first saw them, I said, oh my God, it's a foam disc for $6.95 for 3 of them. Certainly overpriced, I'm sure. But I tell you what, friends, it's ludicrous. In fact, I was just doing our loon order for 2019 the other day, and I think we sold something like 98 of these sets. Again, comes in a set of 3, and it's really simple. You're going to attach one fly in here, boom, and then wrap the tippet around. Simple. You can get a couple of them on here easily, and then just hook it right into the foam, and off you go. You can put these on a little tippet holder. You can stick these in your pocket and easily pull them out, and off you go. Then you undo it, unravel it, stick it back in your vest. So the loon rigging foams are another option for doing that. It doesn't keep things protected like it does in this box, but obviously somebody out there is using these and using a lot of them. So there you go. 3 different options to keep your dropper rigs set up and ready to go, which can save you a lot of time on the water. So for the gentleman that emailed this morning, I'm sorry I don't remember your name. There you go. Available on madriveroutfitters.com. All 3 of these. If you have any questions, let us know. And we appreciate you tuning in. If you like what we're doing, tell all your friends, subscribe. It really helps us out. If you really like what we're doing, go to madriveroutfitters.com and buy one of these things from us. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching as always, and stay tuned. We got a lot more coming at you. If you like this video, hit subscribe. It helps out a lot. And check out these videos. We think you might like them too.